Hey folks, Merry Christmas Eve. I thought we'd, you know, do something comforting this time. Let's sit in front of the fire, have a nice eggnog, and I don't know, use something very comforting and cozy like a Gateway 2000 P5-60. This is yet another machine that I walked away from North Carolina with, as you can tell by the Geek and Spiel stickers. And it's one that's rather unique in my collection now. You've seen me take a look at many different machines of the mid 90s and some of the early 90s too. 486s, Pentium era machines, those cheap Cyrix and Via chips, Pentium 2s, Pentium 3s over the years. Lots of Pentium 100 machines, like the Packard Bells and whatnot. And I've never had a machine that was sort of stuck in the middle of all that. This is a Pentium 60, which was the first Pentium ever released in, I believe, 1993. The machine hails from 1994, though, so a year later. So it was new enough to have a lot of integrated stuff on the motherboard and, all the rest of bells and whistles that come with that. It has interesting specs. It has 24 megs of RAM, so it was upgraded at some point. Not sure by who. It came with a Windows accelerator card. I'm struggling to remember the name of it. If I can find a picture of it or something, I'll stick it up on screen. Because I pulled the card out like a while ago. But it was one of those Windows accelerator cards that has very poor DOS compatibility with games, and barely has the color needed to do a lot of stuff. It was a very terrible card. So I replaced it with a card that would have come in one of these machines when it was new, actually. Quite a few Gateway 2000s came with the Matrox Millennium. Either one or two. Forget which one. I put a Matrox Millennium in here, and ever since then, the DOS compatibility and just everything is better. Everything. I believe it's a 1 meg video card that I put in there. The Nostalgia Mall put in a Sound Blaster 16 Vibra, and despite the crap that Vibras get from the purists in the sound card community, the Vibras are still fine for playing games, right? I mean, I guess if you're a MIDI enthusiast, maybe that's not the best choice in the world, but if you just want to play some games, the Vibras are fine. Like, don't let people discourage you from using them. If you just want to play games and you're not that particular, it'll be fine. Because the Sound Blaster compatibility is very high on any variant of the 16. And that's exactly what's in here. It came to me with a CF card solution, which is proving to be a bit finicky. I had to take the cover off and jostle cables around, so I think eventually I'm going to be putting an SD card solution in here instead. These CF card solutions are starting to get long in the tooth for me. They're giving me more problems than they used to ever before. So I think SD is the way forward for vintage PCs. At least in my fleet, anyway. So this machine, I had a Gateway 2000 similar to this before. I think it was only a 2-bay model, and it was a 486. It was a very nice machine. I forget if I ever made a video of it, but I really liked that machine. And this one reminds me a lot of it, except that it's a slightly higher-end model. And unfortunately, the 486 one got taken out by a rogue CD drive that just destroyed the IDE controller. So I was very discouraged and got rid of that machine. And this one is, I think, a better replacement in every way. So thank you, Nostalgia Mall, for gifting this to me. I genuinely appreciate the nice gestures to fellow vintage computer enthusiasts you make. And I wanted to share this with you all because I think it's an interesting machine. Now, the board in this machine gets even more interesting. So these Pentium 60s, there were two models of the original Pentium, the 60 megahertz and the 66 megahertz. So we're talking similar clock speeds to 486s here. So that's what you could compare it against at the time. And there's of course a famous thing with these early Pentiums. This is a socket 4 motherboard, and that's what the first Pentiums came out on. These Pentiums had the famous FDiv bug. Now, I'm not sure if my particular machine has that. I would assume it does because it's an early enough model. These chips were recalled. I'm not sure if they replaced them with newer models or what have you. I haven't done a whole lot of research into it. I just kind of have passing knowledge that that happened in the 90s. I'd like to explore that in a future video. I'd like to confirm whether my chip does have the FDiv bug or not, if it was like a replacement or something along those lines. I'm not 100% clear on the history, but we'll get into that in the future, I think. Right now, I just wanted to come at this from the standpoint of it's kind of in between. It's a real in-betweener chip anyway, right? Despite the FDiv math problems that the chip has, you can still play games on it just fine. And that's kind of what I wanted to look at here. Where does it sit between something like a Pentium 100 or a Pentium 75 and a 486? Because it's using similar clock speeds to that. We've seen 486s run. You can go back to my videos, my Pack Vember videos from 2023, if you want to see some 486s run, and compare that to this. So, without further ado, I think we should take a look at the P5-60, the Gateway 2000 P5-60. Okay, let's boot this thing up. It has a very loud fan in it, as you'll hear in a second. Let's go into the BIOS real quick, because I just want to show you how old school this BIOS is. 24 megs of RAM, as you can see there. There's the CF card, the Transcend card. 1992 era BIOS, so this BIOS goes all the way back to like the 286, 386 era. Although, I think this has less color than those did. This is just your standard kind of blue screen. It's keeping the time quite well. There's your 640K of conventional memory and your 24 megs of extended memory. It has auto config for the drives, so it's new enough to do that. It's a 2 gig CF card, as you can see. Now, if we go to advanced here, is there much to see? Not really, but you can tweak a lot of the settings on this board. Gateway 2000s were excellent machines. They were very, very high quality, good boards, good components. Apart from the aforementioned FDiv bugged Pentium 60. But yeah, there you go. Pretty simple BIOS, straight to the point, does its thing. So let's boot the machine up. This has Windows 95 on it. These machines, having been released in 94, would have come with Windows 3.1, which is, I think, why that Windows Accelerator card was in there. Those Windows Accelerator cards were made more specifically for Windows 3.1. Probably for business use. I don't know a whole lot about them because, you know, my focus is DOS games and software and things like that. But I remember seeing ISA versions of those. The one that was in here was PCI, so I want to say it was a YTech card, now that I think about it, like a YTech 9000. Yeah, I'll post a picture of that on the screen if I can find it for you. This is an interesting card. This thing boots up a little bit slowly because of the CF card's kind of slow in this machine. But it does function. It does work. As you can see, it still has the install that the Nostalgia Mall had on here. I'm still using it because it's a perfectly fine install. There you go. It's Windows 95B with Microsoft Plus. There. Again, a thank you to Billy there. There's your Pentium with 24 megs of RAM. Now let's look at the device manager. This is the card that I had lying around. I originally bought this card for an HP Pentium Pro machine that was just broken, that I could not fix. And it came in handy for this machine. This is a great card, the Matrox Millennium. It's very, very solid. Has good I think it has good drivers for Windows 3.1, 95, and Windows NT 4. Maybe even 351. So it's a pretty solid all-arounder video card for a machine of this era for the mid-90s. It has the Microsoft mouse drivers installed. It has a Netgear Ethernet card in it, so I could hook this up to the network if I wanted to. There you go. There's your Sound Blaster 16 that we're using. System devices. There you go. A whole bunch of chipset stuff. In fact, it'd be even better if I just use Everest Home to show you what's in here. This program does a much better detailed job of showing you what kind of hardware is in the machine. Might take a while for this to boot up. Remember, this is a Pentium 60. It's the slowest Pentium that you can get even today. It's a real in-betweener machine. It just gives me that vibe. Okay. There's your summary. So this is the Gateway 2000 P5-60. The motherboard even has that identifier on it. There's your Pentium 60. It uses the Intel Mercury 82430LX chipset. So it's the 430 chipset. So that was the chipset that I think preceded the 440 series. And if the 440 series is anything to go by, the 430 series might be pretty good too. Here's your Matrox Millennium video card, your Creative Sound Blaster 16. What else we have here? Oh, here's some CPU information. All right. So, I don't know if this will give away really any more information than we don't already have. For optimum performance, Windows 9X requires at least a 100 megahertz CPU. So, yeah, that kind of tracks with the whole Windows 3.1 accelerator card thing. A machine like this is probably better suited to Windows 3.1, but it seems to run Windows 95 just fine because it has all this RAM in it. 273-pin PGA socket, that's your socket 4. What kind of extensions does it support? Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. It has page size extension. Yeah. No MMX and no SSE. It's a very, very early chip. The Intel Mercury chipset there. GPU, here we go. Is it just not going to show me? There we go. Matrox Millennium. Yeah, that's about all that I have to show there. Yeah, that's what we're working with. And this is kind of a transitionary machine coming off of a 486, which is why it probably was a more Windows 3.1 geared system, but plenty of Windows games work. And let's see if there's any on here that I can boot up and look at. There's quite a bit. SimCity 2000 will work. Actually, we never look at SimCity Classic. Let's do Classic. Yeah, listen to that. Let's do San Francisco 1906, as always. Look how classic this is. So you can play games like this no problem. Something like that would work. So I think that Everest is being a little bit conservative on as far as like what you can really do with a machine like this. I would not run something like Half-Life on here, but I would run edutainment games such as The Playroom, My First Encyclopedia, 3D Ultra Pinball, Fatty Bear's Birthday Surprise, a few other games. Firefight is another game that I would run on here. I think the one we should really look at as far as Windows stuff is concerned is Busy Town. That was the very picky game that really requires good hardware to run in that hybrid DOS mode. So I think that that is one that we should begin with here. I suspect that BusyTown is just going to work because it's a Sound Blaster 16, right? But I want to prove the point. So a game like this would run very easily on a 486. I've run this on 486s. And the only one it had trouble with was that older Packard Bell because of the type of sound card CD-ROM setup it has. But one like this, a computer like this Gateway will run it without any issues.
Dr. Diane.
Doctor, I got a problem. I fell off the swing and hit my thigh. I'm hurting everywhere. I don't know where to begin. My cheek hurts, my eye, my head is spinning. Put a bandage on it.
Yo, man, I fell and hurt my knee. That's whack. Wiggity, 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 whack.
Dr. Diane, I've got a problem with my chest.
Perhaps you should see an emergency room, a doctor, if that's the case.
Open wide.
I think you're having a heart attack. Now put a bandage on it.
Bandage on it.
I think you're having a heart attack. I'll put a bandage on it. That'll take care of your pain.
You'll feel much better. Uh-huh. And on my elbow. I'll put a bandage on it.
One of these days I gotta show what happens when you just cover this dude in bandages. It looks hilarious. But
I'm all wrapped up. Bye now.
we've got other games to play. So edutainment games like this are fair game. Something like The Playroom would work on here too just fine.
Dr. Diane.
But CD-ROMs like this, you know, the things like the Edmark games that I really grew up with would work fine on here. You know, Thinking Things, Sammy's Science House, you know, games like that are going to be fantastic. Especially if you grew up with those like me and you love to look back at them and just remember how cool the 90s was. I don't know if you can hear that, but the CD-ROM that's in this computer is very, very loud. I think it's like a 48 speed or a 52 speed or something. I think the other game we should try is Firefight, because Firefight is one of those games that sort of lives and dies on Windows 95. There are a lot of games like that, especially in the Asian region. There are tons of them. If you've ever watched McCall 45 on Twitch, you'd definitely see a bunch of those. Firefight is one of those games that I didn't know about until a few years ago. Well, maybe a decade ago, something like that. And I grew up on Macs, so I missed it. But a game like this would be a perfect example of kind of this era of machine. You know, the beginning of the Windows 95 era. Oh. I'm out of free memory. I wanted to demonstrate this game. That sucks. How much space do I have left? I have 1 meg left. That would do it. Oh, no. Oh, no. Well. That sucks. Maybe we'll have to save Firefight for another time. Well, that's a predicament. Well, let's do SimCity 2000 then. Let's see what that looks like. SimCity 2000. Haha, I'm using your copy of SimCity. The Atlanta UFO invasion, that one's my favorite. Zzz, zzz, zzz. As you can see, this game kind of runs at a speed that's, like, usable. It doesn't run too fast. I've seen some games on the newer Pentiums just run way too fast for what they are. And on this Pentium 60, it seems to, like, be reasonable. You know, this speed looks how I remember it in the 90s. Well, like I said before, if any of you live in Atlanta, maybe in 2049 you should leave. Especially if you live near the expressway. That game runs, it's a little bit laggy, I would say. Probably too laggy for a machine like this, but the speed is what I remember. Like, I think a lot of us would have played a game just like that at that speed at the time. Is there any 3D games on here? I don't think I have the CDs for a lot of these games is the issue. KidPix is on here. Now I'm curious to see with this CPU, how fast is the bomb? The erasing bomb.
Paint a picture.
Because this game was made for like the 386, 486 era, because a lot of the functions of this game, the Windows port of KidPix is not that good, because it's very CPU dependent on a lot of its animations and functions and stuff. On the Mac, it's consistent on any machine. On Windows, it's all over the place. Let's see how fast the bomb is. Yeah, you see how fast that is? That's not right. Same with something like this.
5,
4,
3,
2,
1.
0.
Yeah, look how fast that is. It's so fast I'm allergic to it. What about this? You couldn't what? Yeah, so even the Pentium, even the slowest Pentium, still has problems with KidPix. I guess if you really want KidPix to be the right speed, use a 386 or a 486 machine. Now, DOS is kind of where I had the biggest question. So I think we should go into DOS mode and check out a few games. I'll have to try Firefight on this thing once I get an SD card adapter. Because I'm out of space on the 2 gig card there. And this machine's extremely picky with cards, so yeah, SD is needed. As you can see, it's got the creative drivers installed. Your typical configuration. Interrupt 5, DMA 1, high DMA 5, port 330 for the joystick, I guess. And T6 for the Sound Blaster 16. What games are on here? I think we should try Doom, of course. Because Doom is just required, man. For some reason, it's very quiet on this computer. Now, one thing on this computer, I've had the sound card act a little quirky when you go into DOS mode from Windows, and we're going to see if that happens. I don't know if that's a quirk with the creative driver, or what, but it can be a little quirky sometimes, and music just won't work. And it's sounding like that's the case right now. So I think what we're going to have to do is reboot the computer. And I'm going to have to hit F8 to go into command prompt only. This is generally how I fix this problem, at least on this machine. Come on, look. Drink up, little buddy. Come on. Beep. I got a beepy beepy out of it. Alright, so you get to this menu and you just do command prompt only. And then it'll just load like DOS would. So then, theoretically, if I go into Doom now, it should just work. Is it really that quiet? Oh no, the music's working, it's just really quiet. That's a weird quirk with this card I don't understand. That might be a Vibra thing, I don't know. Might need to adjust that in the creative utility itself, but as you can see, the frame rate of Doom is pretty darn good. And think about it, this is 6 megahertz slower clocked than a 486, and the IPC gain is huge. And it runs great. Get shot, get shot, get shot. Come on. There we go, jeez. And of course, let's go to the secret area. Yeah. I can still run across and get that armor. Yeah, there you go. So Doom seems to work great on a machine like this. This game came out in '93, so you would hope it would run on a machine like this. So build engine games are pretty fair game, even on the slowest Pentium. You know, I wonder if I switch audio ports, if it would be any louder. Yeah, not really. It's just oddly quiet. Weird. Well, there you go. That's Doom. Doom has a great frame rate, runs well. I don't have blood on here, do I? I don't think that I do. No. I have Doom 2. Do I have blood? I don't think I do. I don't think I have enough space. I don't think I had enough space for it. Let's try Wolfenstein 3D. But blood is one I wanted to demonstrate because of the Matrox video card. It would work with that Matrox card just fine, I think. Oh god, it's so loud! I'm not getting... Am I getting music? I'm not getting music. Okay. Yeah, that's really odd. Diagnose. If I run this, this might fix it. Let's see. Sometimes this fixes it. I don't know why.
Eight-bit testing. 16-bit testing.
Let's see if the music works. Yeah, there we go. It can be really quirky, man. I don't know why. Yeah, ever since I forced it to play through that, now I can hear this odd whine coming out of the speakers. So this Sound Blaster card has some quirks to it. I might have to replace it. And you're seeing it in real time. Keyboard error, yeah, I know. Now we'll click when the drivers start. Now if we go to Wolfen... hell. Wolfen 1 there. Now it works all of a sudden. This is a quirky sound card. I have another Vibra that does not do this. I don't know if this is a driver issue or what. I think it probably is. This will have the loudest doors of all time, of course. Wow, something was wrong, because now it's working. We're going to have to try Doom again. We're going to try Doom 2 and see if the music's back. I wonder if when it goes into Windows, it puts the card in odd mode. But yeah, as you can hear, everything seems to be okay. Let's test the sounds. That sounds right. Yeah. All this sounds like it should. Aye. Let's go see the sound when you pick up the gold. Yep. That one sounds a bit weird. Yeah, all that sounds right. How odd, man. This card's a little weird. Let's do Doom 2. See if the music's any good. Oh, I got nothing. I got nothing. Nothing. Oh, because it wasn't set up. Silly me. Now it should work. Yeah, now it's working. Now, if we went back to Doom 1, it would be, you know, what you would expect it to be. I still have no sound. Oh, this is another quirk that happens. Like, you can get music to work, and then the sound effects stop working. But despite all that, you can see the games run well, despite all these sound card issues that I'm having. Let's try Tyrion, one of my favorite games. How does this run? We've seen this run kind of slow on a 486. We've seen it run pretty darn well on a Pentium 100 and faster machines. Christmas mode. Tyrion seems to be working. With no sound effects, though. No sound effects. What the hell is going on? This is, you're seeing in real time what it's like when things don't go right, and you have to just do troubleshooting, so... It's IRQ5. I'm wondering if this isn't a case where you should probably set the IRQs differently, like maybe set it to IRQ7 instead of 5, if things start to not work. It's something I'm going to have to play with. I don't have a whole lot of experience with it because I didn't grow up with it.
Bit testing. 8-bit testing.
It all works. It's just being incredibly quirky. Let's see if Doom 2 will work with us here. Or is it going to do the same thing it did before? I hope not. No, still no sound. Oh my god. So let's reboot the machine. Again. And see if I can get this to work. I mean, other than these quirks with the sound card, the performance is quite good, I'd say, on the Pentium 60. So if you come across an early Pentium, don't scoff at it just because the clock speed is low. The IPC is still good enough to run a lot of games and software very well. Let's see if this has changed anything. No, it hasn't. I don't know what's going on there, because it worked fine in Wolfenstein 3D. If I go back there and I launch it, it should work. Yeah. Sound works in a game like this. Yeah, everything seems to work. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I really don't know. Let's try Tyrion. I mean, do I have to eat my own words about the Viber being compatible? I don't think that's the problem here. I think it's drivers. Yeah, I've got no sound. None. So we'll just look at performance now. Now that I'm done troubleshooting and doing all that, just focus on how it runs. You can see the speed of this game is quite good. On a 486 of the same clock speed, it would be a lot slower. But this is running perfectly fine. Just needs sound, really. Well, this is what I mean, right? Even Pentium's this slow. The Pentium was such a big deal in the mid-90s. It was such a performance leap over the 386 and 486. It was just a new era of computing, really, in every way. And this early Pentium kind of proves that. So you could easily make even the slowest Pentium a great DOS machine. And that proves the point, you know? Pentium was its own detail setting, as you just saw there. So, I mean, what more do you want, right? Let's try something like, What's a good one to use? How about... Is that on here? Is that on here? Yes. Commander Keen 4 is on here. Let's see if Commander Keen works. That's a pretty good test. Sees the Sound Blaster and Ad-Lib. And on the Matrox, there is no jerky movement whatsoever in the video. Unlike what you saw with that ATI card in the Never Obsolete E-Machines. This is perfect. The Matrox cards were solid. Really solid. This sounds like it's working fine. I've noticed the color's a little dark coming off this card for some reason. I don't know why that is. Probably not going to be able to tell because this is a CRT and everything, but this color to me looks a little darker and less vibrant than I'm used to seeing it. I wonder if that's a quirk of Matrox. Might be. But it handles itself very well. Alright. So, despite all this troubleshooting that I've been doing, I think that the Pentium 60 is a great platform for DOS gaming. It's fantastic. I think even slightly later games like Duke Nukem 3D will probably work fine. Let me just make sure Duke Nukem is set up properly for this card. And it is. Maybe this game will give us some luck and work properly unlike the other ones. Hey, we had some luck. Duke Nukem 3D works. That's all you need, right? That's all you need, baby. Now let's see how this is going to be. Well, you can see by the demo there that it runs alright.
Let's rock.
Let's rock.
Damn, this ain't back into the game for shooting up my ride.
The frame rate on this is fairly smooth. Let's see what it does when I blow these barrels up. Still seems fine. You definitely have a fine frame rate. It's definitely a little slower on this than on some of the other machines we've looked at, but it's still perfectly playable. Like, it's a very subtle difference. If you were playing this as a kid, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know the difference. Yeah. Attack of the bleached blonde biker bimbos, baby. This game really is hilariously tasteless, but that's why it has its charm, right? It's just like... This game's just like a sleazy man from Las Vegas rolled up into a game. Gotcha. So Duke Nukem runs a little bit slower than I would like, or than I'm used to, I should say, but perfectly playable, perfectly fine. And this game is from later anyway, it's from around 96, I want to say. So that's perfectly serviceable on a machine like this. So we did have some luck with Duke Nukem 3D, that's nice. And, well, since it's Christmas Eve, you know what we need to do. I've done it so many times in these videos. We need to play Skyroad's Christmas Special. Now, this one might be a little picky with the sound effects. We'll see. Or not, maybe. Maybe we'll get good luck. We need to beat Road 3. It's Christmas Eve. Santa needs to make it to Road 3. Sound sound effects are still a little loud. Oh, I missed it. No. That sucks. Let me turn that down a little bit because that's loud, man. This runs perfectly smooth on this machine. Smooth enough for my liking, anyway. Oh man, I'm losing my touch today. Losing my touch, man. I think last time I beat this in 2 tries. Today I'm just like losing it. Oh, too early. Too early. Oh my God. Come on, you can do it. There we go. Oh no! No! That's tragic. Tragic. There we go. There we go. I got it. Had a little more trouble than usual, but hey, there you go. It wouldn't be Christmas without beating Road 3, would it? Even though I've done this outside of Christmas. But there you have it. That is the Gateway 2000 P5-60. I just wanted to introduce this machine for Christmas Eve because I think these Gateway 2000s are really cool. And I don't get my hands on them very often. And I'm just really thankful to have cool friends that will gift me neat stuff like this. And yeah, it's a cromulent machine. It really is. The Gateway 2000s of the early to mid 90s like this, they were really solid, really nicely built machines. Definitely on par with something like IBM or Compaq. They were just they were excellent computers. And yeah, I would use them any day of the week. In fact, I think Gateway 2000 is probably my favorite PC brand from back in the day. As much as I like Packard Bells, and I've learned to like them through their use and through their DOS configuration and whatnot, I really like the Gateway 2000s. They really are great computers. They really have stood the test of time really well. They're still really solid now, really well built. Lots of metal in their case construction. Really solid motherboards, as long as they don't get taken out by a CD-ROM drive that's gone rogue. And, you know, I really like these. I really like the Gateway 2000s, and I just wanted to introduce all of you to this one. It's a fantastic machine, as you can see. I still need to sort out these sound card problems. I don't know what's doing that. Could be the card itself, could be the driver, could be the IRQ settings. I don't know. Gonna have to play with that at some point and figure it out, or just change the sound card for something else, like another Sound Blaster 16 or something like that, because it might just be a flaky card. Who knows? I changed out the video card, and that solved a lot of problems. Maybe if I change the sound card out, it'll do the same thing. I don't know, but I love the machine despite its quirks, and I think that I can definitely get those sorted out, and it will be a great DOS machine that won't have me using the diagnose thing and you know, tearing my hair out to get it to work 24/7. Anyhow, yeah, that's it. This has been another installment of DOS-cember, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope y'all who celebrate have a Merry Christmas Eve, and yeah, there you have it. If you want to reach me on social media, links are down below. And if you'd like to join our Discord chat, that link is down below as well. Merry Christmas Eve, and have a good one, everybody. Ciao.